The number of risk-off, risk-on periods we went through during that period up to COVID was quite astonishing. That low interest rate, negative interest rate did not do what most people think. It just didn't. They're ascribing the massive increase that our strategy saw in 2020 to low interest negative. No, we're going to say no. Innovation solves problems. COVID-19 created massive problems. We needed to sequence the virus to understand how it worked. We needed to develop tests. We needed a vaccine. So no wonder that our genomic revolution strategy was the best performing strategy during that period. Innovation solves problems. We needed to digitalize everything we do. Work, play, healthcare, education, and that innovation helped. Now, what has happened since then, because many people think that burst, and from the low in COVID, April of 20 to February of 21, our flagship strategy was at 360%. Now, innovation solves problems, but by the end of all of that, we were saying, okay, keep some powder dry, because our minimum hurdle rate of return for any stock to get into the portfolio is a 15% at a compound annual rate for the next 5 years. We hit that in February of 21. Now with the massive downdraft we've seen, our rate of return expectations have never been higher. I've never seen them higher in my career. Cannot tell you what they are because compliance, of course, has a lot to say about that. But as you said, being down 75% plus from that February peak, when innovation is still solving problems, and we have so many more problems than even during COVID. We have the war, we had all the supply chain problems, and we have a recession, which is going to force most companies to say, how do I increase productivity? How do I cut costs? Technology is usually the answer. So I think we're coming into a moment, hopefully many moments, where innovation is solving problems and our revenue growth rates are going to surpass by far the revenue growth rates that the overall economy will deliver.
Would the Fed signaling an end of front-loading of hikes prove a catalyst, do you think?
Very interesting. I think you may know that we wrote an open letter to the Fed saying, wait a minute, how can the 12 of you unanimously agree on 75 basis points at, one right after the other when commodity prices are falling, inventory overhangs are crushing companies, and so you have upstream deflation. We believe downstream there will be deflation. There's no debate over this? Are you kidding? Do you know that in the early 80s, and I was fairly new to the business, Chairman Volcker was fighting a 15-year inflation problem. It started in 1964 with the Vietnam War and the Great Society. So 15 years, and people were used to inflation, so they were demanding it in wages and so forth. He took interest rates up twofold, 10% to 20%. This Fed has taken interest rates up roughly 16-fold in 9 months. Now, economics takes place at the margin, changes at the margin in all kinds of pricing, and interest rates are prices. Changes at the margin are incredibly impactful. And I think we will look back in history and say, wait a minute, a 16-fold increase in 9 months without stopping to see what's happening is crazy. It's crazy. And this is what will take inflation from up 8 to 10%, where we think it peaked, to negative.